Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 14th episode of the Voiceless podcast. I'm a stoic Jon Fisher alongside a rather working-class fellow, Brad Shepard.
Yeah, that's me.
Because you're working. It was a joke because you're working. Get it?
I am a working guy, and Billy Gunn is looking for work.
What a segue! Rather abrupt and yeah, that's a good word. An abrupt segue into our first topic. Yeah, welcome everybody. There's a lot to cover. Instead of me being a negative Nancy and a nagging one about when we have to stop, we're not. We're just gonna go and go and go, and you can listen if you want. If not, well, we're not earning any money for this. We're doing this for fun, so we don't care. Listen as you all please, but first and foremost, Brad already alluded to it. Billy Gunn fired from the WWE for testing positive for elevated levels of testosterone for a powerlifting competition in the summer. Brad, why?
Well, so just a little bit of the background here for people who may not know the specifics or some of the, details. His epi-test ratio, so testosterone and epi-testosterone, his ratio on the test was 37-1. Okay, so the maximum allowed range in what would be normal is 4-1. So his ratio is more than 9 times the allowed limit. Like you said, it happened several months ago, back in July, a powerlifting competition. WWE claims they were unaware he was active in powerlifting competitions. He didn't fail a drug test with WWE, and with their wellness policy, contracted talent are tested, but trainers are not. So I think what it came down to was Billy Gunn was fired by WWE after they were made aware because they didn't want to make their developmental program look bad, which is where he was a coach.
May I play devil's advocate? Because I feel, and not just for fun, for a legitimate reason this time.
Sure.
How can they fire him from something he did while he was not signed on with the company? It's not a case like Hulk Hogan to where all of this stuff with him being a racist, which is still true, came out while he was there. And it was a truly negative situation. For Billy Gunn, he took some more testosterone for a powerlifting competition not employed by said company who released him. I see a lot of hypocrisies and contradictory statements and or actions that have been done due to Billy Gunn's actions 6 months prior to. I don't understand. I get that they want to make an example and say, well, even Billy Gunn, our best trainer, arguably our best trainer, wanted they want to make an example out of somebody, and they don't want to say a trainer like him is safe, but you, first day rookie, are not. I get that, but the way enlighten me if I'm wrong, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think WWE has kind of always had a don't ask, don't tell physique enhancement policy, but in this case, I think he may have been shooting tough enough at the time, and then on the weekends going and doing these powerlifting competitions.
If that is the case, and I'm certain we can do some digging, then I have to agree with the sanctions. But like I said, if he was not a member of the company as contracted employee, I see no reason why he should have gotten fired. Suspension, maybe. A termination, I don't think so.
I don't think he should have been fired to begin with. I mean, I understand what they're doing. Okay.
Who doesn't?
I don't blame them, but at the same time, there's plenty of athletes who are legally prescribed testosterone, steroids, HGH, which at reasonable levels can all have positive health effects. Now, granted, his levels were completely unreasonable, and so I wouldn't say that was a good thing. Well, that wasn't healthy, obviously, but if they were slightly elevated, I wouldn't see that as a problem. I understand what WWE had to do, but again, I think it's more of we don't want to look bad rather than anything else.
And that's where I'm okay with it. And they're worried about their image. They are. They're worried about their image. And why wouldn't you be?
I mean, let's be honest. If they were more than worried about their image, if they were worried about the health of the talent or whatever else you want to say, I mean, come on. You can look at that roster and tell that a lot of those guys are on some sort of physique enhancement that would violate the wellness policy.
Like who?
You can't tell me that you'd
Like
be
who?
on the road 250 days a year and maintain those physiques. It just doesn't add up.
Well, just because you don't have that physique doesn't mean that it's not possible, and neither do I, for that matter. Like who? Tell me five.
I actually have a great physique.
So do I. That's what my non-girlfriend. Anyway, tell me five guys. At least you have somebody.
But
Tell me
I'm not on the road 250 days a year.
That's fine. Tell me five guys who you think are of an elevated testosterone level, or rather that HGH, steroids, anything. Right now. And these aren't confirmed, by the way, everybody. There's just opinions from Brad Shepard.
Well, I mean, all you have to do is look at the roster. It's a majority of them. It's guys like John Cena, who is clearly on some sort of a prescribed physique enhancer.
I disagree with you.
In my opinion.
I disagree with you because of what he's doing in his time off. And we'll get to that. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to get to that right now. John Cena will be away. Brad, I'll let you do it because it's going to turn into something that I want to tell you to make you sound like you're wrong.
He's going to be away doing some reality show for some sort of military-themed competition, and he's the host of the show. And we've kind of known that, and now just today, as we record it on Wednesday, they've come out with the remainder of the details. It's
called American Grit. Military and survival-themed challenges. There was 16 contestants coming soon to Fox. Do you think Fox would hire somebody that is cheating to get the physique that he has, do a show about a physique, and do challenge? You know, it doesn't.
Absolutely. Is that a serious question?
It doesn't make sense.
Of course it does. He looks the part. That's what they want. Have you seen the Rocky movies? Sylvester Stallone admitted to doing steroids for the roles. It's a common thing in Hollywood. It's a common thing in entertainment. Of course they would allow that. They don't care that he does steroids or whatever else he may do.
Rocky was 1976. Regardless of the fact, if you would have said anybody else, I would have probably agreed with you.
But it wasn't the first. It wasn't the first Rocky, by the way.
And you're right. And it won't be.
He wasn't the only person. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Pick a top guy in entertainment. The Rock. Really? You think he just eats a lot of pancakes and gets that big? I don't think so.
Nah, I have to back up Cena. I don't know about The Rock. Maybe, but Cena, I don't know.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am serious.
Come on, dude. Wake up. Stop being so naive.
Look, if you would have, Orton's been caught. So Ziggler has a great physique. Do you think he cheats?
Ziggler is small in person. I think he does. Yes, I think he takes something to enhance his physique. But at the end of the day, it's his decision, and I don't care. I'm just pointing out what I feel.
Then why would someone like Randy Orton get in trouble but nobody else? As a top guy in the company, mind you, he's gotten caught 3 times now. And his last charge, or rather accusation, wasn't. I think it was a couple of years ago, but that was 3 different times. So if they're willing to do something with Orton, who is a top guy, top 3
person, the last person busted was Hornswoggle.
Okay, so but you're just feeding right into my point. Orton.
Yes, they will ban anyone like Hornswoggle. Huge superstar Hornswoggle.
But Randy Orton was banned. Edge was also suspended. Those are big names.
Edge's ex-wife said he was on steroids for years. Even after he was banned for it. Even after he was suspended for it. Come on.
You have to remember, steroids aren't just used to get bigger. They're also used to heal injuries.
Under a doctor's care, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I just said. They have good health benefits under a doctor's care at proper levels. HGH, testosterone, all these things. But don't sit there and tell me these guys are on the road 250 days a year, eating out, always in airplanes and cars, etc. And then somehow they have the top tier physiques in the world. And they do it completely naturally. Come on. Who's that stupid?
To not do it, or to believe they don't do it?
To believe that.
I don't think everybody does. I would say a small majority, like 25%, do it.
No way. I mean, you could look at certain guys and say, yeah, there's no way that, Bo Dallas or Dean Ambrose or, those type of guys,
Seth Rollins,
I could believe.
Who's a big guy.
I don't believe he's not. I believe he's in the group that does. I mean, it doesn't pass the eye test. If it doesn't pass the eye test, then you have to go with where logic leads you.
Roman Reigns?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell. The guy they are so worried about this guy's physique that he'll never take off the vest. And we'll never see his physique. Who knows? I think it's possible, but he's so covered up that we don't know.
Well, I mean, he wasn't covered up as Leaki in FCW.
Right. That was a long time ago. I get that. But I'm talking about now. And is he now? I don't know, because I can't tell. He's wearing as much gear to cover his physique as much as possible, because they're afraid his physique is not up to par with where it should be. For a top guy. There's
a post from Reddit. I'm trying to look right now when it was. This ain't helping me here. Either way, I don't fear for Roman Reigns' physique. Like it matters anyway. He's winning the fucking title.
I don't care if he's doing steroids, HGH, testosterone,
cocaine.
I don't care. I don't care what he's doing. Does it affect his job? Is he entertaining to me as a fan?
No.
That's what I care about. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there we are. Does this have anything to do with your What the Fuck tweet of the week? Because that's next.
No.
Oh, well, okay. That's what we're on to now.
Although this person should be suspended as well from breathing air. The what the fuck tweet of the week comes from Sonny.
I know what the tweet is. I thought you were talking about something else. Somebody, I don't know. He just
Stay tuned.
He just did a photo shoot yesterday. Okay.
There was a lot to choose from, but this was the most outrageous to me, right?
I don't even have an opinion on this. It's so stupid.
Sonny tweets, WWE Hall of Famer Sonny, what I think the world needs is another Holocaust, but this time for the Islams of the world, the ones who really should be extinguished. Hail Trump. Sonny later apologized to those who were offended by her remarks, but then followed it up by saying, it was made in jest. What I do not apologize for is my own off-color sense of humor and outspoken ways. Baby, I was born this way and nothing is going to change that. Boy.
I think that's what she tells the people who watch her. Well,
what a piece of work.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, she fits it all in there. She's Islamophobic. She's talking to, insulting Jewish people. What a fucking moron Sonny is. I think that's not a surprise to anyone.
No. And I think the reaction on social media from a lot of fans really told the tale of how stupid she really is. Which is a shame, because Sonny has done a lot of things that are stupid. And I didn't think that I could have seen her do worse. But I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was very wrong.
Second place would have gone to Melissa Joan Hart for me, a.k.a. Sabrina the Teenage
Bitch. For a second.
For tweeting that Kevin Owens was a lazy wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Whatever that means. I tweeted her. I said, yeah, I don't quite understand. What do you mean Kevin Owens is a lazy wrestler? I want to know what she means by that.
I don't think she knows what
no response.
And I've interviewed Melissa Joan Hart. She seems smart and educated, and she was very nice. But as a wrestling fan, I don't respect her opinion at all, because there's no opinion. It's just, an accusation that has no merit. Is there any other way to describe it? I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but hey, on the other hand, she's got more heat than most of the roster right now.
I know. And what does that say in the end?
It says a lot.
It's bad. And we'll get to really generating heat a little bit later. But yeah, that was the What the Fuck tweet of the week. Brought to you by idiots everywhere. This time, it's all the time, not just most of the time. Moving on to a little independent wrestling. Like usual, this is Brad's area of expertise. I will stay out of it. But Ring of Honor is going to air on Comet TV, whatever the fuck that is, after their deal with Destination America is concluded. I will add my piece of advice, and you take the reins on this one. I'll sit back and listen to you with my cup of coffee. Comet TV is on. Say that again?
You are such a WWE fanboy. I wouldn't call it independent wrestling. I mean, it's
is Ring of Honor not an independent wrestling
deal.
Promotion? Are they not an independent wrestling promotion? They are. They are.
They have a TV deal,
but they're still independent. They're not corporately owned.
They're owned by Sinclair Broadcasting.
Still? Holy shit! I knew about that, but I thought that was way over.
All right, fanboy, continue on.
Yeah. I like to watch entertaining wrestling. I watch it for the wrestling, but I don't care about any of the other shit. I'll say that right now. Comet TV is extremely unknown. Doesn't really help them at all, unless they're planning on backing with Ted Turner and getting $1 billion in revenue each year just to spend. It's not helping their cause at all. As an outsider's perspective, I think they should have tried to get a lot better out of this. I think they kind of failed in that aspect. Or do what the cool kids do, Netflix, which I don't know why no one's tried to capitalize on that yet. WWE has Hulu. I don't think anyone's going to take that over, but Comet TV, I don't know. Comet TV seems dumb. It doesn't seem like worthwhile. Like waste of time.
Well, it's owned by Sinclair Broadcasting. Okay.
Oh, it all comes full circle.
Yeah. So it actually was launched on Halloween, so literally less than a month ago.
Okay.
And so this pretty much tells us, hey, ROH is no longer going to be on Destination America after November 25th. So we know that first week in December, they'll be on Comet TV. So Comet TV, if you're not familiar, is a digital subchannel, and it's not available on satellite. It's available on cable depending on your market, signal strength, and cable provider. I think when I checked, it was available on 28.3 in my area. I have DirecTV, so I can't watch it on Comet TV. It's probably a positive for cord cutters who, don't have satellite or whatever, or even cable. But, and that's an evolving trend in how we consume entertainment, and I get that. This will allegedly reach about 10,000 more households than Destination America.
By when? Or is it right now already?
Right now. But it's also at the same token may be harder to access depending on how you watch TV. It's not available everywhere. Like I said, I have satellite. I can't get it. So they did move the time slot from right now. They're on Destination America. They have an 11 o'clock show. They've moved it. Comet TV will air it at 12 on Wednesday, midnight on Wednesday. So they'll have that challenge of a really late time slot as well. If you're not familiar with Comet, it touts itself as a channel dedicated to sci-fi entertainment with shows like Species, Leviathan, Blood and Chocolate, The Outer Limits, and Stargate. So honestly, nothing that would appeal to me outside of ROH. But the COO, Joe Koff, did do an interview this week and essentially said that anybody could watch ROH on ROH TV on ROH, their website. So I guess you could watch it there if you wanted to. I'm not sure. I don't watch it that way. I DVR it. I watch it on the weekends. It comes on here in my area on the weekends.
So I ask you this. Is this going to help anybody? Can Ring of Honor finally make a leap towards competing with anybody? I mean, they're not going to compete with Ross or SmackDown. Then again, SmackDown's crowds aren't the greatest, but is there a chance they can compete with NXT? With this, I still say an independent wrestling promotion or Ring of Honor or Lucha Underground should try to go for Netflix. But that's still my opinion.
Well,
I don't see this as a profitable endeavor unless you have Sinclair pushing in a shitload of money to Comet TV that they want to succeed and possibly contend with the Sci-Fi Network, which SmackDown was on for a long time and still is until January.
Well, I'd say for now this is not a loss. It may not be a win. It's at least neutral. I mean, it's at least not a win or a loss by making this move.
They need to start winning soon, or it's not going to be good.
Well, they do have a partnership. Joe Koff did announce there's going to be a partnership in the works. I think it was with Comet TV, Comet or Sinclair. Anyways, it's all the same thing that he can't talk about, but it's going to be a big partnership that could help them. So,
okay,
I don't know, but you're right. They need to grow, and NXT, as I've said before on the record, NXT is preventing them in some aspects from growing, and that's the truth.
Well, if NXT was bad, it wouldn't matter, would it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I stumped you finally. It's about damn time. Will Ronda Rousey's loss this past weekend affect any opportunities with WWE? Do you believe the fight was a work? No, because Taz said it. No, Taz is a fucking moron. He still thinks this is boxing with Buster Douglas. No, absolutely not. Rousey, and I've talked to a lot of MMA experts on this one. She didn't look right from the get-go, and I don't know why. Did she suffer from the Anderson Silva effect, winning too much by so much, and she got cocky? Probably, and she doesn't seem like that person, but everyone has an ego. Let's put that out there. Even you, Brad. Everyone has an ego.
Oh.
Rousey's ego got the best of her that night, and she lost.
And it got the best of her when she took the money.
Exactly. Holly Holm
took the money to take the dive.
No. Are you fucking kidding me? No, she did not take. She did not.
She took the dive.
No, she didn't. That's so stupid. How long have you been watching? No. My turn. How long have you been watching mixed martial arts? In a cumulative number of years. How many?
Longer than you've been alive. My first UFC show was Hoist Gracie in UFC 1 in the early 90s.
That's impressive, Dan Severn, correct?
So, yes.
Yeah.
I do know MMA and UFC the best. I would say this. Was it a work?
No.
I don't know. I wasn't directly involved. Could it be? Yes, I think it could be.
Nope.
Look, anytime a large amount of money is involved, anything is possible, including the fixing of professional sports such as UFC.
So let's go back and discuss Brock Lesnar's fights, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, BJ Penn. Were any of those fights fixed? I doubt it. If any of them would have fixed it with Silva's, and Silva danced around like a fucking idiot and still beat people. There's no chance in hell. She got beat by a world boxing champion. Enough said. She ran into somebody better than her on that night, and there will be a rematch. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, which will make lots of money. Yeah,
of course it will, but it's not going to be.
That's what it's all about. By the way, that's what it's all about.
Well,
but let me ask you:
all
the examples you provided, right? Anderson Silva, etc. Did any of them have the same scenario as Ronda, being their top draw, who then asks for and receives permission to take about 7 months off? So just imagine your sports team, your top draw, asks for 7 months off to film movies, etc. Meanwhile, you've got to still put out content. You still got to hold pay-per-views, and the biggest star in your company is going to be gone 7 months. Would you not put the belt on someone else? That's going to be best for business financially. Well, they're going to make a new star while she's out to maintain pay-per-view buys and keep interest in the company strong.
No, Holly Holm isn't Ronda Rousey as far as marketability. Absolutely not. Maybe I'd agree with you if she was on that level, but she's just not. She's not, and there's no way to change that.
Beat Ronda Rousey. She just turned into a star.
Oh, but she'll be the flavor of the week for a month. And then they're going to move on to something else, like Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, which is coming up soon. something's going to change. John Jones is coming back in the next 6 months. He's finally cleared. CM Punk is going to fight by the summer of 2016.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have had a UFC champion take 7 months off and remain champion?
The heavyweight, okay, and sure, the UFC heavyweight champion, didn't fight for a year and a half. And there's still interest generated. Cain Velasquez can't stay healthy for a damn second, so they had to have an interim champion.
Let me tell you, Ronda Rousey has fought 3 times in 6 months, okay? She's the top draw in the company. Do you really think she's taking 7 months off and keeping the belt?
She does have a 180-day medical suspension, which is the most you can get. So
okay, but she has had this time off before the fight.
Yeah.
This was a planned time off before this fight that Dana White agreed to give her. This has nothing to do with a medical suspension. This was already given before the fight, which only adds to my point.
So why did they just make an interim champion and have the interim champion fight Ronda after her time off?
But it would have. You've answered your own question, because they can make a new star and they can have Rousey come back when she's ready, and they can have the big money rematch. You answered the question.
I still don't think it's a work. Why would Dana White sacrifice the integrity of the UFC, which has been able to go...
Integrity! This is entertainment. All pro sports is a circus act. We sit there and we watch the animals and we are entertained and we pay our money. That's what this is.
Then let's go all the way back to Super Bowl 49. Why didn't the Seahawks run the ball? Who knew that? Who knew that was fixed too? The money. That
boiled down to the ego of Pete Carroll as a coach who wanted Russell Wilson to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. And they don't like Marshawn Lynch. They don't like him, let's be honest. And so they wanted to make their little dig, and they wanted to have Russell Wilson be the guy, and it blew up in their face. And I'm happy for it.
Oh, of course. I know you are. I know you are.
But I'm just saying, like I said, I don't know. But if you can't at least look at the facts and examine the possibility and how money motivates high-level decisions, then that's naive.
It's not being naive when it's something that isn't predetermined. Has the UFC ever been even accused of a predetermined finish before? Boxing got fucked.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have actually.
When?
And they absolutely have. Just Google it, brother. Just Google it. It's out there. And the pro sports too. NBA referees have admitted, hey, we fix shit for money. I mean,
I never said
it's
the
all
NBA
motivated by money. All pro sports. It's entertainment. It's motivated by high dollars. That's how decisions are made. How can we make a shit ton more money? And that's how they make decisions.
If that's the case, then let's dissect everything by, through money. And yeah, it's all about the money. I understand that. I like to be a purist and try to understand that not everything is dictated by which bookie can pay out the most. I want to watch a sporting event that's fair competition, which is why I love mixed martial arts, the UFC.
Then I'll tell you what you do. You go to the store, you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, you buy a wiffle bat, and you go to your neighbors and you ask them to play a game in your backyard. That's how you're going to get no fixing, nothing guaranteed, everything is pure. That's how you're going to get it, because there's no money on the line.
I hope that nothing like that was even considered, because I would like to imagine in my little fantasy world that Dana White wouldn't sacrifice that. Because what do you think would happen if that is the truth?
He's there to make the UFC money. Why would you like to think that is not something he does?
It'd be bullshit. It would be an insult to every viewer out there that didn't have money on the match. It would be. It'd be an insult. Because why go watch wrestling if UFC's fixed? Because you're going to get a lot more of it there, and you already know it's predetermined.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to argue that with me.
So maybe we're in the right industry. Shit. Nikki Bella. Oh boy. But this one's serious, guys and girls. injured, as we all know. Her Instagram pictures are marvelous of her in the weight room. Injured with bulging discs in her neck, and her sister Brie. Can I pause for 10 seconds, please?
Yeah, that's not the only place she's had bulging discs. Discs, oh, sorry.
You're not sorry.
No, you're right, I'm not.
That was premeditated and hurtful. And you know what you get for
they can sometimes be painful, depending on how large they are.
You know what else can be? I like her emphasis whenever she calls somebody a bitch. And I'll play it for you. I really do hope that here we go. because the one time she calls someone a bitch, it has to be emphasized.
I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. Get out, you bitch!
She's one of the worst actors I've ever heard. Wait,
yeah,
here's another one.
Like a whining, sniveling little rich bitch.
Why? I'm getting distracted.
I think her and Charlotte are going for the Emmy for worst, or is that Oscar? For the worst. You can tell how much I watch that stupid shit.
Yeah.
For the worst actress in WWE award.
Yeah, well, you're right. Anyway, Brie Mode and Nikki Bella were both in Paris, only a few miles away from the site of terrorist attacks in Paris when they occurred. So I don't know what you wanted to talk about here. Nikki Bella's injury is career-threatening, and she's trying to avoid surgery as much as possible. I haven't been able to confirm whether it's the same injury as Edge's, but the amount of concern is definitely there. It'd be a shame to see Nikki through all the hard work she put in. And Brad, she did.
She did. I told you. I think I said it on Twitter, but
you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's at the peak of her career right now, and I mean, you never want to see anyone get hurt in the ring, obviously. So we wish her the best. I just wanted to mention the whole, the WWE's European tour, that the Bella twins had actually had been granted permission to leave early to take their grandmother to London and Paris for her 83rd birthday. So they were actually in Paris with their 83-year-old grandmother, and they were 15 minutes. Their hotel was like 15 minutes from the site of the terrorist attack, and they were only a few miles away at the time, and were just like rushed to a secure place. And they hadn't posted anything on social media, but their brother JJ, who was on Total Divas, took to Twitter to let everyone know they're safe, which is a good thing, and I'm sure all of their fans appreciated that.
I think anybody really who knows who they are appreciated that, because when I first heard that she was in Paris, I got concerned because I mean, as tragic as it is, you don't want to see anything happen to anybody. That's not what being a human is all about.
Right.
So I'm very, very, very glad they're okay. I don't know. Are they back in the States yet? They should be.
They're not.
Oh, they're still over there.
They're still in Paris. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
as of when we record this, anyway, Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they get back soon. I really do. What would happen? How would you handle, and God forbid, a potential retirement for Nikki Bella? Is that how you finally get Brie any hate and or reaction from the crowd that isn't a negative one? I mean, I'm gonna. What I would do, honestly, if she had to retire, Brie comes out, kicks her ass, generating that serious heat, because Nikki would really actually retire, and Nikki would be a manager of some kind before she actually left wrestling forever. And I don't know, that'd be something. It'd be one way to really use that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depended on if she was cleared to wrestle one final match, so to speak.
Yeah. It'd have to be against her. There's nobody else.
Well, I don't know. You may want to put over like the next big diva star.
Sasha Banks.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, you could do the Brie thing. I mean, it's not going to matter that much. It's not like she's some huge, huge name brand star where it's like, oh God, someone beat Stone Cold. They're the next, whoever.
Yeah.
But you could do something with it, like a Sasha Banks or even Brie. It just depended. Or you could do, if she can't wrestle, just have her come out and say she's coming back, and just have that next person, the Sasha, the Brie, whoever, come out and just end her career in the ring in a sneak attack or whatever the case may be, and then just kind of build them as this badass diva sort of a character. Yeah,
let's talk.
That's what I would do.
I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it. Let's talk more about women hating each other. Lana versus,
because that's what women do. They're catty, bitchy women who can't get along, right?
That's
WWE.
That's what the WWE thinks. I disagree. But
although they're right here,
they're right here in this instance. Lana versus Paige on Twitter. I don't have the entire transcription of it, but I was actually going to cover this later on this evening.
I kind of have it.
Go for it.
Okay, so at one point, the two of them trained NXT together for a brief background.
2 months.
Yeah. So Lana tweeted that she hopes Charlotte destroys the phony anti-diva that hides behind her mask of makeup and her phony love of wrestling. Now, she didn't tweet this to Paige, but Paige did see it and responded by saying that Lana lies all the time, and that apparently Lana deleted that initial tweet, and Paige tweeted, "Don't talk crap, then delete." Lana responded by saying, "Actually wanted to write a longer paragraph about how you bullied me in NXT," which I think was a pretty big statement to make, especially with the Be a Star and that whole deal. I mean, she put it out there. Paige said, "You were barely there 2 months, and if it was true, you wouldn't have deleted it, that initial tweet," and then proceeded to call her a keyboard warrior. Yeah. Lana says, "Hey, I'm an open book of honesty, and tell Charlotte she hopes she crushes Paige because she is mean and disrespectful." And then you had the effect of people chiming in. Former NXT creative assistant Rob Naylor chimed in, laughing at the thought of Paige bullying anyone, and said, "Few are given a harder time at NXT than Paige, actually." And Summer Rae chimed in as well, saying Paige was falsely accused and isn't a bully in or out of the locker room. So there you have it.
I'm starting to think that Lana's in this industry for the wrong reasons. What do you think?
I'm thinking there are too many things coming together in a short time that are looked upon in a negative light as far as WWE. They weren't happy about the engagement on TMZ. They're probably. I mean, this was discussed internally at WWE. This very thing we're discussing,
yes,
was talked about internally at WWE. So I mean, there's this too. It doesn't look good, no matter how you slice it. It doesn't look good for her, and frankly, probably Rusev, who's injured and sitting at home. But he had some heat too and was getting beat and whatever. But it's just not good. It's not good for her.
How do you phrase it?
And frankly, if that was a true allegation, I don't know if it is or not. But tweeting that out instead of going through the proper channels, or just quitting if you don't want to deal with it, is definitely not the proper way.
So what if you're Lana and you have to answer to, let's say it, Mr. Carrano of Total Divas. Carrano calls Lana. "Hey, Lana. Hi, how you doing? I'm good. What's this with Paige?" And they really dive deep into what Lana meant and why she said it, what the personal vendetta really is about, because it's not because of the bullying. It's a deep-rooted insecurity. Let's get a little psychological, shall we? It's a deep-rooted insecurity that Lana has because she's not good. She's good at being pretty, and she seems nice, I hope. She's good at being a decent person. But what is she good at in this industry? It's looking good. She's a very attractive woman who got a lot of heat for being Rusev's manager. So she can do something right, but she can't wrestle, and she never will wrestle. So what is she going to do? Is she going to sit back and take that, or is she going to try to talk back at somebody who can wrestle? I think she took the latter, which is a really wrong decision because this might affect Lana's recovery and attempt to even get into a ring and compete rather than say something rude about somebody in a bad accent and get in trouble for it.
Yeah, and I've heard Mark Carrano is a little bit of a dick, so I can only imagine he's probably not very happy with the situation. But, hey, speaking of dicks, JBL blocked me on Twitter.
Why?
And I don't know why.
Would you say bad?
I don't really know.
Would you say?
I really don't know. Because I don't know when he blocked me. It could have been, a month ago. It could have been, just last week. I don't know. And so I just went to retweet something of his that someone else had retweeted that I liked. And it was nothing negative. It was positive. And it wouldn't allow me to retweet it. And I went to his Twitter page because that is usually a sign that you're blocked. And sure enough, the fucker blocked me on Twitter. And I don't know why.
You had to have said something.
Well, clearly, I said something that put his panties in a bunch. I just don't know what it was.
What's his exact Twitter handle? Do you know?
Well, I'd like to tell you I can look it up, but I'm blocked.
I'm not. The one guy that did block me is Michael Cole, and I don't know why either.
Yeah, I'm blocked by others too. Whatever.
Like who?
One half of the Spot Monkeys. Oh, the Young Bucks. Sorry.
I think that's why they blocked you. Oh, hey! By the way, a really shitty wrestling show starts Thursday, so today, I guess, on Periscope. Just so you know, so you won't watch. Just throwing that out there. Lana and Paige's caddy. Paige did it right, caught her out. Lana didn't know what to do, so she decided to back away. Good job, Paige.
If I were Lana, I would keep my mouth shut.
Yeah,
I would stay under the radar. I would apologize, and I would just wait for the heat to die down, and then just get over it. Or if you can't, just leave.
Leaving is always an option.
Yeah.
Now on to the big serious story. What turns out to be of the whole week, how WWE incorporated Reed Flair into the storyline with Charlotte and Paige. Brad, if you want to look and talk about it, I'm going to look for the actual quote to tell people.
I'm going to tell you the quote.
Oh,
The quote,
I wanted to play it.
Oh, you're going to play it?
I'm going to try to find it on YouTube. You would think somebody at this point, had the brain to retweet it. You would hope, at least.
Yeah, you would think so. Okay. So Paige says in their segment, you know what, Charlotte? You're wrong, sweetheart. And I can't do the British accent, so don't expect that.
You're wrong, sweetheart. There we go.
Because your little baby brother, he didn't have much fight in him, did he?
Ooh.
And while you're looking for that, I'm going to talk about my perspective.
Go for it.
And it's going to be long.
Uh-oh.
And it's going to be kind of a rant, and you're going to disagree probably. But
I will.
Yep. So I'll get right into it while you look for that. The statement to me kind of was effectively laughing at her brother for being a junkie who OD'd. To me, drug addiction is a terrible, terrible thing and not something we should be making light of in pro wrestling. An industry that has historically been full of just that. And many wrestlers have died from that. Would WWE have made light of breast cancer to the family member of a superstar or diva that lost a loved one due to breast cancer? Would they say, you know what, Charlotte, you're wrong, sweetheart, because your little baby sister, she didn't have much fight in her, did she? and you know, she died due to breast cancer. Would they do that? Just answer that, and I'll continue on. Do you think they would do that?
Is that rhetorical? Oh, it's not rhetorical.
No, I'm actually asking.
If they didn't have a partnership with Susan G. Komen,
but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, would they do that?
At this very moment, no.
Why would they not do that?
They have a partnership with Susan G. Komen.
Okay, and how would that be a problem?
It's basic marketing logic, or rather just business logic. If you upset a sponsor says fuck you and leaves. It's that simple.
You got it. That's exactly right. Whether it's breast cancer, whether it's anything else, you're exactly right. So Charlotte had legitimate tears, a long pause, and seemed to forget some of her lines even after this was said, after the line about Reed, which I can understand. Anytime you have seen Charlotte in an interview or the Table for Three segment, when they mention his name, she begins crying immediately. Obviously, this is her wrestling journey was inspired by him in a big way. So, as far as WWE, look, they've worked someone's death into a storyline before, and I understand that. Whether it be Eddie Guerrero, Brian Pillman, Paul Bearer, it's always uncomfortable to me for the most part, and you know. They've never really done it in a way, though, like they did on Raw, and towards someone who never worked for WWE. Reed never worked there. In my opinion, they kind of prostituted his death for a lame angle that nobody cared about, and nobody still does because the match isn't drawing money. I mean, they didn't have faith in the angle at all. I mean, I know they were trying to give it a little kick, but they didn't even advertise that it was the main event segment intentionally so viewers wouldn't tune out. I mean, they didn't tell you it was the main event segment, which they always do. That was intentional. So I'm told that this was the idea of one person in WWE creative, and that person has been with creative for a long time. Do I know the name? No, I don't. I just know they've been there for a very long time. It was one person's idea, and I think he should be fired. So I had heard it, and so there's been feedback, of course, on social media about everybody's opinions, but I was more interested in what's the opinion of Charlotte and her family, Ric Flair, Charlotte's mother. Ric Flair discussed this angle on his Woo Nation podcast. He said he wasn't aware this would happen. He began crying when he heard it. He didn't agree with it, and that Charlotte was afraid to say no because she hasn't been on the main roster long. That's what Ric Flair said. So they didn't even have the common courtesy to talk to Ric Flair about it, who is, by the way, under contract with them. Charlotte's mother, who's also Reed's mother, said it was lazy writing and called it cheap heat and disgusting, disrespectful, cruel, and sad. There was never, from a storyline, standpoint, I mean, because there's those who will say, oh, well, it adds to the story. But there was never a backstory of Reed being in the storyline. He was never in WWE. Many casual young fans won't necessarily know who he is. They didn't mention him by name. Hopefully they don't think it's David Flair, who is still alive and well. But it had minimal effect. One fan actually in attendance on Twitter said that the audience, it was just this awkward aura that came over the audience. It was uncomfortable, and some people started leaving. So I guess in a nutshell, that's my perspective on all of this thing. I thought it was trashy. Was I really offended by it? No. Was it trashy, and did it do wrestling any favors? Definitely not. Glorifying death, I'm not a fan of that. So there you go.
You brought up a lot of good points. I didn't have a problem with it. Because they were trying something different,
but could they try something different without prostituting someone who's dead, a dead relative of someone on their roster?
I would say but they don't.
They could have been edgy in a better way. I mean, that is a very uncreative and lazy thing to do, just from a pure creative standpoint.
But did they?
They could have found a way to make her edgy.
Did they do what they wanted to do and create controversy? They did.
Okay, that's not what this is about, though, because the controversy is negative. That's a negative publicity. If you want to sell the match and get people talking to get subscriptions, that's one thing. That's not what this is doing. Nobody's saying, damn, I can't wait to see this match now. Or damn, this talking about, Reed dying of a drug overdose and being a junkie and he wasn't, strong enough to fight. I don't think anyone said, oh man, I can't wait to see them fight now. It's a work. Everybody knows it's not real. And so putting in someone's dead relative, it's just not, people already talk about how trashy wrestling is. And you try and overcome these stigmas, and then you put on a supposed PG product, and then you turn around and do this.
Then they should change everything about them.
But they won't.
I know they won't.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I like edginess in wrestling. Whenever Randy Orton said to Ray, Eddie's dead, I liked it because it brought edge. It's lazy, but they've proven they can be lazy. It's not anything out of the ordinary.
I like edge too. But there's also edge, and then there's something that's not necessarily appropriate or like you said, lazy. I mean, saying Eddie is dead. Yeah, he was. That's true. Did they say, hey, so Eddie's dead? Did they said, hey, Eddie's dead because he, took a bunch of drugs and he couldn't fight hard enough? No, they didn't. They just stated the obvious fact. Was that edgy? Yes. Was it the best thing? Probably not. It was a little uncomfortable. But this is also different. This is someone, he's not Ray. He never worked for WWE, okay? He never worked for them. And in this case, they specifically called out that this guy OD'd on drugs. I mean, that's not what they did with Eddie. I mean, this is overboard to me.
People are talking about it, whether it's positive, and
that doesn't matter. What does that mean? People are talking doesn't add money to your pocket if you're a company.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm not, but I'm stating facts. People are talking about it
in a negative way. That's not good for them.
Their
ratings are in the shitter.
I know.
This is not good. It's like, this is not going to win sponsors over.
But they're under the impression that press is press no matter what. And I've been in journalism for quite a while, and so have you. There is negative press, and it's bad.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah.
TMZ's fucking stupid for thinking the opposite. But that's another argument for another day. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough subject, but there's nothing I can do to change anything except give my opinion, and I didn't mind it. I didn't. When there's corporate sponsors involved, let's say WWE has a big sponsorship with the fucking, I don't know, name any drug prevention program in the world. Name any of them. The Yuck Sticker. I don't fucking know anything. They wouldn't have said shit, and you know that. I know that. Everyone that follows the product knows that. They don't. They don't care. It doesn't lose them anything. Except a viewer or two. But at this point, they don't care.
Well, then they
don't care because their stocks are up. They have a brand new partnership with the biggest sports producer of media in the world. The network subscribers are going up. So what do they care? They don't.
I mean, this is the same episode they had Nick Bockwinkel where they announced that he died, and then they turn around at the end of the show and make light of someone who died. It makes you question their sincerity. Are they doing this because they feel like they should be, or because they sincerely want to when they do these sort of, wrestler death things?
It's about the money, and it's obvious. That's all they're about, is the money. I'm going to go. The stock exchange has now closed. It's 5:21 p.m. I will go right now to look at the stocks of WWE, and guess what? They're up. They've gotten bigger by losing ratings. In the last month, they've gone up and down and up again. In the last year, on November 19th, which is today if you're listening to it today. 11.72. They're at 17.44 1 year later.
Yeah, but, that's true. Keep in mind that with the network, they're expanding to different countries, so it's going to be
Germany,
more available.
Recently, India.
Yep. Germany is huge. India is huge. So that's increased profit just from the fact that they haven't expanded the network out to these countries yet. And I get that investors, shareholders are looking at bottom line profit in a lot of cases, but they're also looking at other things too. And it's not uncommon for a sponsor to say, oh, this caused the media shitstorm. This is offensive. So we're pulling out. We're backing out. It's happened to WWE. And it's one of the reasons they went PG, a big reason why. And so that's something to consider.
Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing at all we can do, which is why we should just go on, let things happen, and hopefully have a good Survivor Series pay-per-view this coming Sunday. Let's preview it now, shall we? And by the way, we did not forget about the Nature Beer Drunk Flair Stumble of the Week because I am going to talk about it right now.
Paige, you are a bitch.
Yeah.
How can you do this to my daughter? Hey,
Ric Flair, I love you.
Yeah. Paige, you are the man. You're hot.
Yeah.
Let's do a figure 12 on Paige. I'll do it to her face. I'll face fuck her, and it'll be a figure 12. Paige, vagina, I love. Charlotte, I'm sorry. You're going to have a stepsister with Paige.
All right.
With the first match on the card.
Right. Also, Paige tells
I'm a little early, by the way.
Paige tells Charlotte, she
Fuck it, I'll just do it in post. My Drunk Flair.
You're a lazy worker.
I don't know. I'm not. Drunk Flair Stumble of the Week has to go to WWE Creative for not giving Cesaro that win. I put on Twitter, and you know me, I'm extremely. I am believe it or not, I'm objective in wrestling. I am, and in the past year or so, I've been trying to really do more than just that. But during Raw, I had to just make note of something. I just didn't. Here it is. It's on Cesaro losing to Roman Reigns in a very good match. These are my own tweets. Cesaro losing actually pissed me off. Rarely do I get emotionally invested, but this is one of those moments. It was a good match, but I'll stand by my opinion. Cesaro is more over than Reigns. That's a fact. He deserves to be in the finals. And then I said, and it got some love on Twitter. Picture this: Cesaro becomes the new WWE champion. Tyson Kidd returns from injury, turns heel, and they feud. I just want to throw that in there just to see what you thought of that, Brad. But Cesaro, he needed to win. He needed to win because what's wrong with wrestling? They're forcing the corporate guy down our throats again. It's happening again, and to think that we were away from that at a point with CM Punk, he loses to Triple H. I don't know what to do. Cesaro doesn't print out more T-shirts than Roman Reigns, and I understand it's a business; it's about the money. But when's it going to be about the actual wrestling? Or maybe it's not. Maybe it never will be again.
It reminds me of the Chris Jericho. Was it Chris Jericho? No, who was it? Wrestling is the least. Dolph Ziggler. Wrestling is the least important thing about WWE.
You're right.
And that is true. Look, if Cesaro had a dynamic and outgoing personality and was oozing charisma, he would be a huge star. That is what's missing with Cesaro. That's his personality. I like him. I think he can work. I like his personality, but he's not over the top. And that's what holds him back. And so they just see him as a guy who works with guys like Roman that they want to be the top guy to put him over. That's his role. That's just his role. And so, I knew what the deal was. I knew this was an opportunity for Reigns to have a good match. That's what they wanted. So they pair him with Cesaro. It was an opportunity, to make Reigns look strong going into Survivor Series. And by the way, Cesaro wrestled circles around Reigns, and Reigns looked completely gassed out. I mean, he's got to do work on his cardio. I mean, his in-ring needs to still improve significantly to be a top guy. And Cesaro, incidentally made him look a little foolish because, like I said, he ran circles around him, and Roman Reigns looked like he was totally out of breath and couldn't keep up. It was obvious. And not to mention, Cesaro is popular, and so that was also one of the risks of the match is that people would cheer Cesaro more than Roman. But they've got to stop this. God damn, this Roman Empire. Or any of my what was the thing they said? Y'all, any of my Roman what the fuck did they say? Anyway, it was basically, is there anyone out there?
The Roman Empire. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they've got to stop that. That shit is terrible. Yeah, I mean, he's going to beat Del Rio. There's my first pick. He beats Alberto Del Rio by pinfall.
Absolutely. No. I got to write these down. I'm not doing my job correctly.
We can just say you picked him wrong.
Awkward silence. Okay. So every series picks. I'm using a green Sharpie, by the way. I think I have 25 different colors of Sharpies. They all match my suits. So
you have a green suit?
Green. Well, it's like a tealish green shirt. Yeah, I do.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're a brave soul.
I was an anchor for 4 years. I had to have a shtick. I matched my Sharpies with my colors of my suits.
So how was it living under sea and holding down ships?
It was okay till the BP oil spill.
Oh yeah.
I know. That was bad. That was a bad year. Roman Reigns over ADR. I agree with you. All right, because what else would you do? Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens. I think also very, very obvious. The lunatic fringe. It's crazy. It's great. Dean Ambrose.
Yep, Dean Ambrose is going to win. Yeah, Goldust is actually teasing a feud with Kevin Owens on Twitter. I don't know. Maybe they use that as some distraction finish. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play it here, but I think Dean Ambrose is going to win.
Could they actually? Why can't Neville and Owens feud? That'd be really good.
A fat guy and a short guy. I don't know. That would probably not be something they'd be too happy with.
It's good wrestling. It's very good wrestling.
Sure. I mean, they'd have great matches. There's no doubt. I don't know. I don't have those answers.
Neither do I.
I think they're both very good.
I do too. The winner of the Roman Reigns, Del Rio. Let's save that one for last. Charlotte versus Paige. I think it's quite obvious. I have Charlotte. Charlotte wins. And I hope that they book this match to be a complete brawl. Otherwise, the comment really was pointless. You're right.
I mean, they've got to act like this is heavy emotional and it's a total brawl.
You're right.
And Charlotte's got to win.
Absolutely. I really can't say anything else, honestly. The most disappointing match, Kane and Taker versus two members of Who Gives a Shit, because it won't be Bray Wyatt. Oh, never mind.
Well, it is.
It is Bray Wyatt. And Braun,
So,
you spelled
yeah.
Braun wrong in your
That is how I like to spell it because he is big and brawny. He's got brawn. Braun has brawn. So I spell things how I want to.
That's okay. I'm going to go with the Wyatt family, spell it as I spell them correctly. Why? I don't understand why having – I don't know. I don't understand. This could have been so good.
Yeah,
so disappointing.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Of course, this is Wednesday as we record, and it will be announced on SmackDown this week that it's Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. And to me, this just totally falls flat. A 2-on-2 when we saw Kane and Undertaker squash all four of them in 2 minutes. It just doesn't do much for me. I'm going to pick Kane and Undertaker.
I have the Wyatts. Why do this? At least try to make some sense. And in somewhat of, it's not breaking news. It's really news. What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
Well,
you're going to get there?
I was going to, but I was just going to say first that I could only see the Wyatts winning if Kane turns on The Undertaker. There's rumors that they could be having a match at WrestleMania. God, I hope not. I fucking really hope not.
I would want to see Kane and Taker for the sole fact of storyline and where they started, where they would end together.
They've done this 5 times. I don't want to.
They've done it 5. You're exaggerating. Twice. Do it again. They're brothers. Why not end on that note? Yeah, build somebody new. That ship sailed. It's over. They could have had Wyatt beat him and go into obscurity.
That's fine. Just put him in the opening match. Let him be the curtain jerkers for WrestleMania 32. Give them 5 minutes. And you know what? Just let Undertaker squash Kane and ride off into the sunset and retire. I think that's a great idea.
You're sarcastic.
No. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. The traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, which WWE broke the news on their own website. I'm going to write, who the fuck cares? And if you don't believe me, I can't tweet it because that's profane. I'll send it to Brad as proof literally right now. Who the fuck cares? I'm serious. I just sent it to you. Why is this match happening?
Well, I think it's Survivor Series, and
Okay,
I'm looking at your attachment.
Go on.
Who the fuck cares? Okay.
Yeah,
I can confirm it. Yeah. Yeah, they felt like the pressure to add one traditional Survivor Series match. And, here's the thing. They didn't have a lot of fucking matches. The buildup wasn't very good for Survivor Series at all. They've thrown a lot of shit together at last minute. They haven't, it's just, it's just a mess. The buildup has been a mess. And the weird thing is, I think this has the potential to be a good pay-per-view. I really do.
So do I.
But they've just done a poor job of building it up and, throwing this together on their website with no promotion. It's like another one of those Raw throw-together matches. Just having a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match just to have it is just kind of It takes away the luster of that type of match for me. And, not everyone likes that match anyway. I've always been a fan of the old Survivor Series formats. But it was in a day when you had teams and they had a team name and they had a purpose and the 5 people feuded with the 5 people. And, you had a story about the match that you would have at Survivor Series. Now it's just a bunch of shit thrown together just to do it. And so there's no emotional investment. And I'm supposed to care. And they don't even tell us the competitors are completely unknown. We have no fucking idea who's even going to be in this match. That's going to sell subscriptions. Great job, guys.
That's why I missed the brand split, because that was your go-to, and it worked.
I just miss good writing. I just miss continuity and good writing and emotional investments and stories.
I do too. Lastly, where that could come into play. The winner of Roman Reigns and Alberto Del Rio versus the winner of Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. From our predictions, it will be Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. Let's do 2 things. First, let's say who we think will win and how it will be booked. And then let's do how it should happen and how it should be booked. For who I think is going to win and how they will do it. Reigns clean. There.
As you write it down.
And you heard me write it down.
I did.
Reigns clean. End of story.
I'm going to disagree. I think that Dean Ambrose will win.
Why?
Dean Ambrose, I think, will be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Thanks for emphasizing every syllable.
WWE. I'm glad you like that.
I did like it. Almost too little. Reigns will win clean. He's the guy, and it will happen the way they want it to happen. How I would book it? Ambrose will enter with the Authority turns heel. Finally have heel Ambrose. But bam. And there's that sob story they want for Roman Reigns. Get him over. Well, yeah, get him over with Ambrose. Now they're both over. Now Rollins has something to do when he comes back. Have it be a 7-month-long feud. Make it mean something and make it the writing good again. And, last but not least, take the briefcase away from Sheamus, put it on Cesaro. At some point for something cool. Because that gives those guys something to do. Now you have 4 guys in long-term feuds that really mean something. I just wrote 7 months of TV in 6.5 minutes. I don't see how hard that is. But
yeah, I've heard some rumblings. People are afraid Sheamus is going to cash in after the tournament final, and I really, really hope they're not going to do that.
Oh,
that would just be terrible. It would be terrible.
Oh, but they've done terrible things before.
Yeah, we just talked about it.
I know. So,
okay.
What do you do? I don't know.
I said, yeah, I think Dean Ambrose is going to win. Right now, there are several people in WWE who are pushing strongly for Dean Ambrose to win this match. And from what I'm told, it's about a 70% chance, as right now, as I record this, that Dean Ambrose will win. Ultimately, Vince McMahon has to make the decision. So, who really knows?
Of course. Because, whatever.
But this would only work in an instance where they turn Dean Ambrose heel.
Yes.
If you watched Raw, JBL for the first time was putting over Dean Ambrose as a wild card, and Dean Ambrose showed a lot of signs of frustration and acting out, things he doesn't normally do. So they could be setting the tone for a Dean Ambrose heel turn and to win the championship, and then feud with Roman Reigns, who will win the championship, and then potentially feud with Seth Rollins when he returns. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Could Roman Reigns wins? Of course. He's the golden boy. But I'm going to pick Dean Ambrose. And what I think they should do is have a heel Roman Reigns. They got to turn this guy heel. It's not working as a baby face. He's not top guy material right now. And he could really benefit long-term from being a heel, a cocky heel. That's what they need to do. And that's what I would do.
It's funny you say that because Stone Cold just said in an interview that Roman needs to turn heel. If my computer
there you go.
You're right. If my computer would go any quicker, I would read the quote as we sit and wait. And why won't it? I think it's my computer's freezing at the thought of Roman Reigns turning heel. I thought that was only John Cena that could do that.
Well, you've got a Macintosh, so it's time for an upgrade.
Yeah. To what? Shit.
Did you have one? That was my first computer.
Really, Macintosh?
Not a Mac, not a MacBook, a Macintosh. Yes, yeah. The big box, vanilla-colored Macintosh. No, Commodore 64. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
That was my first. Oh God.
I'm only 22. I didn't have those fandangled computer boxes.
I didn't have a cell phone. You know what I didn't have a cell phone growing up. You know what I finally got? I had this in college.
My first cell phone was 16, but go ahead.
I had a pager.
Really, a pager? What were those like, mister? I may be 22, but I'm not an idiot. But anyway, I have the quote if you want to hear it. I think Roman needs to be a heel. I do. Go through that journey and then evolve into a babyface. To me, it's almost going to mirror what The Rock did. They brought him in as a white meat baby. People hated him, and they wanted to hate him. And then, all of a sudden, The Rock started taking over the NOD. He was the alpha male in that group. All of a sudden, the promo skills come alive. The character comes alive. The personality comes alive. And he turned into the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Now, I don't expect Roman Reigns to do that. I expect Roman to be Roman. But that's the road that The Rock went down. I just think organically that's the way it's going to play out for Roman. Now you can try to put him in that babyface spot, that number one spot right now to see what happens. And I'll be very, very interested to see if indeed that's what they do, because I'm just waiting on the edge of my seat to see what happens.
Well, we know Roman is not The Rock. He's not even close. I don't
No.
care if they're related, how closely related. He's not The Rock. He never will be. He should be the next Roman, but even the next Roman is not nearly ever as good as The Rock.
That's
But,
right.
you know, hey, I digress. Hey, I'm glad that Stone Cold agreed with me, by the way.
I think you're agreeing with Stone Cold.
No, I said it first.
I don't think he did.
We have evidence on this podcast. I said it first. He's just agreeing with me, naturally.
That came out earlier this afternoon.
There you go. I said it weeks in advance. I said
yeah.
it recorded on our podcast. I know what it was. Stone Cold was listening to our podcast and agreed with me, and then decided to blog about it. Good for him. Very nice job, Steven. And that's the bottom line, because I said so.
Yes, sure. Well, there we are. We're at the end. This podcast was a long one. As I'm yawning. And I'm
Farting is
exhausted.
such sweet sorrow.
All right, as you do every week, please do your thing.
First, I want to send my condolences to the family and friends of WWE Hall of Famer Nick Bockwinkel, who passed away this past weekend at the age of 80. Nick was arguably the greatest AWA heavyweight champion of all time and very instrumental in AWA success. With that being said, you can stay up to date on all of pro wrestling's latest happenings by following me on Twitter at @TheBradShepard, SHEPARD, and by following Justin Bieber's cuddle buddy, Jon Fisher.
That's fair.
Baby, 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 ooh.
All right, well, you can follow me at Jon Fisher IQ on Twitter. I'm making moves and doing things. Follow it.
Making moves, making $1 million moves.
Who sings that?
That would be the entrance music for the Primetime Players.
Oh, wow, you're right. I never even thought of that.
I am right. Imagine that. I'm right. Who would have thunk it?
It's rare, isn't it? We'll be back next week, hopefully with better writing, because that's what we want, right?
But if not, we'll be back anyway.
I know, you're right, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Until next time, we'll see you all next week.